Okay, the farm has been in the family for 4 generations, and it's been farmed in different fashions over that period of time. Dad got it from one of his uncles who never married, and he got it through inheritance. We would say they did their development inputs as far as forestry went, and bought a lot of pine in from the US, put 100 acres in, which was a pretty massive step for them in those days. And Dad started probably the serious development on the property, where he cleared all the very kindly imported gorse from the English many years ago. We're still removing little bits of that, but that's not a big problem to us these days. And I guess around 20 years ago, Roger and I took over, and I guess we've put our foot on the throttle ever since.
Yeah. The original farm, which we're stationed on at the moment, is about 1,500 hectares, of which probably 20% of it is good croppable alluvial soils, and then we've got sand dunes with wetter flats in between. We've then got another 200 hectare river silt type property, which is basically all cropping, intensive cropping, and then we've got another property which we purchased 2 years ago, which is similar to this, of around about 550 hectares. The total area we're farming is about 2,600 hectares. We're cropping around about 650 hectares, isn't it, Hugh? Approximately, for cash crops, maize and squash.
Yep.
We're turning over about 35,000 lambs a year, and we're fattening about 3,000 steers a year. Hugh's very keen on his, some people call them petrol heads, but he's the mechanical person on the farm. He does all the tractors, cropping, forestry side of it, and I do all the livestock side of it.
Our process was pretty much along the lines of develop all the sand ridges, so fence those off, so we separated our soil types. Yep. And retire the sand dunes, and some of them were quite vulnerable, obviously highly prone to wind erosion. So we fenced those, and we planted. That was kind of the first start-up on the development program from our point of view. Then probably we went through a bit of a development phase with trying to improve our pastures, and they were pretty much in a lot of native with rushes and cuddy grass.
We decided that we had to have access on the farm, and we really looked at our different soils. We split those up and we fenced according to our soils, plus we put a lane around the whole farm. But we put a lane so we can get into every paddock on the farm by opening one gate.
Yep.
And that is brilliant.
The farm's about 9 k's long roughly.
Yep.
And the time to access from front to rear on it was quite phenomenal. Yep. We can farm the whole thing really efficiently now due to access, so a really important part of our development process.
The challenge of the stock is gone, but the production's definitely skyrocketed.
A large amount of capital invested into putting a new bore down and then a fully reticulated water scheme for the stock, so they had clean water all the time, which has made a big difference to I think stock performance.
Production,
and so on.
We used to run bulls and steers and cells through the winter, and they're very easy to operate. We used to have mobs of 20 and move around, but what we were doing is we were damaging our soil structure, and we were getting great production. We were just taking out too many grass plants, and we were damaging the soil. So now what we do is we have our cattle look after our spring grass. They come on from now and they go into silage through the winter, and they come out and control the spring grass, but all through the autumn, winter and early spring we have lambs.
Yeah, as far as the management of just going through the processes, obviously we spray out our pastures, and then if the paddocks are a bit rough or uneven or what have you, and we need to level them, we'll do a minimum tillage process where we might put the discs through them. Before we do any of these processes with any of our soils, we've got an intensive program with soil testing, and we do leaf testing, and we do deep end testing. Deep end meaning deep nitrogen testing, and that's undertaken so we know exactly what's there before we do any what we call lime balanced fertiliser from the fertiliser companies. We know maize on a 14-tonne crop's going to remove around about 215 units of N. That's what it takes off. So we know that plant, we've got to supply what isn't available in the ground. So it'll pull it from 1.5 metres down if conditions are right, if the soil structure is right so the roots can get down there, and that's usually no problem. So we make sure the balance of nutrients that go in are equivalent to what are available and what the plant takes out. Pretty easy process. You've just got to do your homework to make sure you know what's there, so you put the right amount on to balance it all up.
Is we basically treat the soil as a medium to hold the crop, whether it be grass, maize or whatever, and we apply the nutrients and the water. So we're basically just about hydroponics, just about. But our soil, we do value it, but it basically is a medium to hold the crop that we're growing. Well, this tractor, it is within 2 centimetres accuracy. It tracks itself, so you program in how much you want to move across on each pass, whether it be strip tillage or the machine it's operating at the moment, and basically all the driver does is turn at the end, and then the tractor follows the exact track down again within 2 centimetres of accuracy every time. And we can come back year after year and go down exactly the same track. So it reduces compaction and it saves fuel because you're not overlapping. But no, it is brilliant. We've got it only in this tractor, but we intend to increase it and put it in more tractors.